The Basketball Hall of Fame 60 Days of Summer is your chance to see your favorite basketball stars live and in person. Check hoophall.com for a complete list of all these exciting appearances and plan your trip today.
Ryan, it's so interesting. I'm such a college basketball nerd. I mean, that's my jam. And so when I looked at the schedule and saw that Arch was coming, you know, reigning most outstanding player, I started thinking all the ways that we could start this, but I didn't realize we would be talking 2 weeks after you're signing on with the San Antonio Spurs. Can you talk to us about what the last 2 weeks have been like now that you're officially a professional?
Playing with them in the summer league, first of all, was just an honor, and just to get to know the organization and the players that were there with me. But signing with them has just been unreal, and everyone has been complimentary and congratulating me and still thanking me for the national championship. And I'm just like, that was forever ago. Like, thank you for the Spurs. But it's an unbelievable feeling to know I'll be a part of a great organization and play under a great coach.
And you know what's funny is when the draft night goes and your name isn't called, I was surprised, but I was reading a bunch of places that you actually were sort of hoping that, I mean, you had indications. Am I wrong here? Where you had indications that if your name wasn't called, everything was going to come up roses anyway.
Yeah, for sure. There was a point in like the mid-second round where Coach Wright called me and kind of said that the Spurs were really, really interested, and they didn't have any second-round picks. So at that point, I was basically like, all right, like, I hope I don't get drafted so I can sign with this organization, a team that actually wants me. So other teams approached me, and they had great offers and everything like that, but I was just really eager to be a part of a new system, a new organization, and start my professional career. And
it's remarkable, Arch, because you have, I mean, now in your back pocket, playing for Coach Wright and now for Pop, those are two of the most elite basketball coaches on the planet. Mm-hmm. Has that sunk in yet? I mean, there are a bunch of guys who have, you know, between you and me, no one's listening, who spent their career playing for some dogs. You don't have that at all.
No, I mean, going through the recruiting process of in high school, that was one of the main factors. I was going to Villanova to play for Coach Wright. My second choice is Billy Donovan, so the head coach of the Thunder now. So I had two great choices there, but now to know that I'm going to play for Coach Pop, they were both together at the USA Select national team out in Vegas, so I know they're familiar with each other, and I hope they talked about me, and Coach Wright tried to push me as much as to him as much as he could. But I've definitely been fortunate and been blessed enough to play for some great coaches throughout my career.
Ryan, what were your initial discussions? Obviously, those first discussions, because there are so many regulations, it can't be directly Pop to you, and not to mention there are so many people in between those two spots. What were the first interactions like between you and Coach Pop?
The funny thing is, I've only met him once.
That's awesome.
He was leaving the facility, and he was like walking out with his breakfast, and I just kind of said, I just shook his hand and said, "Hi, Ryan, nice to meet you." He said, "Oh, like, I'm happy to have you here."
Cool.
That was it.
What's Pop eat for breakfast? What are we talking about?
Everything down in Texas and San Antonio is the breakfast burritos, so I think he was walking out with something like that.
Whatever he's hiding in there is championship laden. We know that.
He's got his 5 rings in there somewhere.
Chip a tooth.
Yeah.
You're coming off of, like you said, the summer league experience, which, you know, we've heard in my business and broadcasting, I've heard for years and years and years that the biggest difference between the highest level, the NCAA, and the NBA is the speed of the game. You haven't been playing with the veterans yet, but from what you can tell, is that going to be the biggest difference, or so far has it been pretty seamless?
I would probably say the speed of the game and the athleticism of every single player on the floor. Guys are 6'4" point guards with long arms, and but I probably first realized it. The tempo of the game was the first practice. Everything was up and down, push, and I was winded as anything, and I thought I was in great shape. They had us going up and down and running the offense against each other, so that was probably the biggest adjustment. But after a few games, you kind of got used to it. But now I'm gonna have to get used to it playing with Kawhi Leonard and LaMarcus Aldridge during practice, and playing against everyone else in the league. Yeah, and that's the truth too. And we talk about sort of the Spurs and their recent 20 years worth of history of just turning second-round picks and undrafted free agents into guys who not only excel but are all-stars, and then, you know, down the road, free agents that you know, really excel.
Was that the primary reason why when you got news from Coach Wright that Pop and the Spurs were interested, you were like, all right, let's just shut it down. This is the Spurs.
A little bit. I know how well they develop players, both on and off the floor. They become good men.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I try to pride myself is being a good person off the floor also. But it was definitely a big factor, just knowing how much they develop people, how much you can see the increase of percentages and shooting percentages and just overall floor games. And you can just watch the last 20 years of how well they've played. And just every single guy, they just funnel guys in and out, but they all play the Spurs way.
It's amazing. Okay, now let's back up to where I know he wants to be, the Villanova guy. Let's talk about Nova for a moment, because that, feel free.
Thank you.
Because that run that y'all went on was remarkable from start to finish. Those first 3 rounds, you're just laying waste to people. NC Asheville, Iowa, Miami. A lot of people thought Miami was going to give you fits because they were the oldest team in the tournament. And then it's Kansas, top seed. What happened in those first 3 rounds against those guys that got you so ready for the dogfight against the Jayhawks?
I'm going to back it up a little more to when we lost the Big East Championship to Seton Hall.
Okay.
I think that was the blessing in disguise that kind of helped us win the national championship. I tell everyone that. Because I think if we would have won that game, we would have been riding high.
Yeah.
Top 5 team all year, won the tournament easy. Are they going to lose early in the tournament again? But we got a good piece of humble pie that day when we lost to Seton Hall, and I think that just kind of helped us get back to practice and just know that anyone can beat us. But those first 3 games, we try to pride ourselves at Villanova playing defense and playing harder than people, and I think we did that, but we were making shots.
Yeah.
So for that Kansas game, we were playing great defense, they were playing great defense, and no one could score. So that was just like one of those ugly old Big East type games that I was fortunate enough to be a part of for only 1 year. But we were able to find a way to win, and then I think we saw that in the next 2 games against Oklahoma. We made every single shot we took.
Yes.
And then the North Carolina game, they were shooting the lights out, and then it kind of was a back and forth, and thank God Chris made the shot.
I think you guys might have actually just scored again against Oklahoma. I don't know, I haven't seen the score. I think it just happened 20 seconds ago as well.
Every shot we were shooting, I think we went on like a 25-0 run, but it was one of those days where we were making shots and they weren't, and we were on the other end of it when we lost to them by 20 back in December.
It was poetry when it was happening, it was. And now, so Kansas, you get by Kansas, and then of course we all remember, we'll talk about the moment in a moment. You know what I mean. And so you're in the locker room, you're one of the senior leaders, you're about to play in front of 74,000 people in Houston in the biggest game of your career, and even for the freshmen on that team, in the biggest game of their career thus far. What are you and Coach Wright saying in that locker room to make sure that the young guys aren't going to jump out of their socks early on?
Before the Oklahoma game or before
the national championship game?
I tell you, no one really got nervous because we do the same thing every single game. We have the same day routine, and we kind of always just say attitude. Anytime we leave a door, we put a sticker up that says attitude on it, and just to know that if anything bad happens, if someone makes a crazy shot, if a ref calls something bad, just respond with a positive attitude. That's what you can control. Mm-hmm. That's what you can control on the floor and in life. You have to have a positive attitude. But we were just kind of saying to each other, it's just our next game. Next game. That's all we said, and we said that all year.
It's really neat because you could see that. And again, being a college basketball nerd, and having watched all of your games this year, there was this sense of this possession will lead to another possession, and if we win this possession, which actually leads me to my next question, is that final possession, right? 4.7 seconds.
Yeah, 4.7.
Which is 1/10 fewer than Tyus Edney had when he ran the court in '95.
Oh, okay.
So it's even more impressive when you consider how rapid this thing happened. Mm-hmm. You come down the court, slice, and then of course dish to Chris, drains the 3. People go nuts.
Yeah.
But you do a thing that I don't think history has remembered properly yet. You're continuing to run to shield the defense from Chris so that they can't get up on him. Was that part of the play, or is that just Ryan Arcidiacano playing smart basketball, knowing that you need to get something in front of him?
That was just instinct. I passed it to him, and I'm telling you, we ran that play in practice every single day for my 4 years, I don't think one time I ever passed the ball back to the inbounder.
Really?
I swear. I literally, it would either be me. Everyone, after Marcus hit the ridiculous shot that he hit, everyone in our huddle and everyone, I think, within our program knew that I was going to take the shot just because I did it every single day in practice, and Coach Wright trusted me in those situations, but not to take the shot to make the right read. And I thought I always did that in practice, so I was being aggressive, and I was like thinking to myself, man, I'm going to hit the national championship shot, the greatest shot in history. And then I saw them step up on me and Chris, and we trust each other so much on our team, and I just had confidence in him, and I would have had confidence passing to anyone else.
What have your discussions been like with him since that moment? He's bought you dinner, I hope.
No, I don't think he has. I don't think
he owes you a steak.
Yeah,
I want you to know that.
He definitely does. I'll wait till he graduates, get some money.
Oh, well played.
Yeah, right. When Chris and I have a funny but awesome relationship, he always acts like he doesn't like me and everything like that, but I now say to him that we all remember Grant Hill passing the ball to Christian Laettner.
Yep.
I'm like, Chris, we're brothers for life now. And he was just like, oh, man, no. And I was like, we're brothers. But Chris is a great dude, and our whole team, we have a bunch of great guys.
Every March, you guys are going to be linked forever now. I think that's the beauty of moments like that. That's why we love sports so much, right?
No, for sure. I mean, now watching the NCAA tournament, I'll just always have a smile. And even when you introduced the 2016 national champion, I just take such great pride in Villanova and my teammates, and just know how hard we worked and the struggles of losing early in the tournament my first 3 years.
So true. In about 10 minutes, you will have your chance to ask Ryan Arcidiacano a question. So now's the chance to sort of ruminate, and I'll tell you when to raise your hand, and one of the great staffers from the Hoop Hall will recognize you and put you in line over here. Was there any talk, and I think you might have answered this already, was there any talk of overtime?
No.
No.
No, see, like I said, we had a 10-point lead against North Carolina with like 5.5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
I turned the ball over. They made some crazy shots, but we always said attitude. Attitude was our philosophy every single year of every single day that I had been at Villanova, and we just had to respond. He made a ridiculous shot. I don't think he could have made that shot if he took another 100 times, but he made it that one time.
Yeah.
So all we said was attitude, and we knew what play we were going to run because we ran it every single day in practice. And regardless if we went to overtime, we would have kept the same mindset and same attitude and try to win and play defense and just eventually make a few shots more than them.
I want to back up a little bit to before Villanova, because your recruitment story, we talked about either Coach Wright or Coach Donovan. That's a great question, right? It's choosing between lobster or steak.
I know, true. They're both great coaches.
They really are. You had a really interesting recruiting process because of an injury you had your senior year. Was the thing that put you, and maybe you can tell the fans about that a little bit, but I'm wondering if the thing that put you over the line to go to Villanova versus Florida was the way that Coach Wright treated you during that post-surgery, during that injury time.
Yeah, I always knew. So I originally committed to Villanova. I was choosing between Villanova and Florida, or my two choices. I committed to Villanova before my junior year. So I played my whole junior year, but I got hurt. I had a herniated disc my senior year, so I couldn't play. I had to get back surgery, everything like that. And one of the things that Coach Wright said to me during the recruiting process, before he had known I was going to get injured or anything like that, is that if you, regardless of whatever happens on the floor, if you get hurt or have some injury that you can never play again, you'll always have a scholarship at Villanova and be on the staff as like either a manager or just a grad assistant or something like that. So just knowing that, and he's a true family person, he sticks to his word, and I just felt so comfortable going there because once I was doing my rehab and getting prepared for that year, I didn't think about if I could never play again. I just thought about I'm going to keep getting better, and regardless, I know that Coach Wright I trust his word about I would have a full scholarship to Villanova, and fortunate enough I was able to play and didn't have any repercussions.
And it's remarkable too because you see those interviews, I mean 3 or 4 years, those interviews between you and Coach Wright, there was obviously this growing bond between the two of you. That wasn't just a made-for-TV thing, right? Like you guys are really,
No, Coach Wright and I are really close. He's from the town right next to me in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I'm from Langhorne, and he is from, he went to Council Rock, so he's from Newtown, Richboro. I forget his actual town, but from the same area, kind of grew up the same way. And we really didn't talk that much throughout my senior season because we already knew what each other wanted. We had been through practices and games and tough situations of losing early in the tournament and having to deal with that thing together, that I don't think I really went to his office besides to just say what's up to him, ask how his family is, and ask if he was tanning again on the down in Ocean City, New Jersey. But yeah, that's one of the great things about Coach Wright. We had a great relationship and we understood each other.
It's the perfect relationship, right? You don't need to talk. If anything changes, I'll tell you.
Trust me, Coach Wright coached me the hardest out of anybody throughout my 4 years, and I took that with pride. I never talked back to him. I always looked him in his eye, and I knew if we trusted him, good things were going to happen.
Now's your chance. I have one question left, which means if you have a question for Ryan Arcidiacano, you can raise your hand right now, and one of the Hoop Hall staffers will recognize you and put you in a line to my right, your left. So my last question for you, Ryan. Your career is just beginning. And yet here we are sitting in the Basketball Hall of Fame, Springfield, Massachusetts, the place where it all began, with the eyes of hundreds of the greatest looking down on us, some of them looking from behind. What is this moment like in all of your great accomplishments? How do you quantify and qualify this moment right now?
It's unreal to be able to be speaking with you as a national champion at the Basketball Hall of Fame. I had never been here before, and I was just in awe of everything. I need to come back here again to just kind of take everything in and be here for a longer time, because I was looking at the championship rings, to the jerseys, to the basketball shoes that they would wear, and the Chuck Taylors, and even before that, I'm speechless about everything, and it's definitely not going to be my only time back here.
I love hearing that. Because things are about to get crazy for you.
No, for sure. But anytime I can make a trip, and whenever I have off time, I try to make visits to the people that I want to see, and this is definitely going to be one of my stops.
It's so good to hear. Can we give, before we get some fan questions, can we give a 60 Days of Summer round of applause for Ryan Arcidiacano?
Thank you.
It looks like you might get off easy.
Yeah, I know.
I actually do, before we get a few people lined up, I actually do have one more question for you, because Villanova, the stadium, you guys talk about one of the most intimate places, one of the most intimate field houses you could play in. To go from that to the 74,000 in Houston, and now to have the NBA bearing down on you, is there a real difference in, we always talk about shooter backdrops, does that matter to shooters? Or is it just to guys like me who just pray from the free throw line?
No, I think if you're a shooter, you're going to shoot it no matter what, and you'll find your way. And we had 3 practices in Houston at Reliant State, or Energy Stadium now. But we always have the same, we have a lot of sayings at Villanova. We always said 94 by 50 feet, which is the length of the floor, and everything else surrounding you that can all change, but what's on the floor is that you're wearing the same jersey, you have the same teammates, and there's 2 baskets on each end.
Yeah.
So basically, you're just playing. Like, we could be playing in our practice facility or in front of 75,000. We wouldn't know the difference. I still heard Chris's voice when he was calling my name.
Did you?
In front of all those people. He said, "Arch, Arch, Arch." And you just have that connection. We truly believe that every basketball floor is the same, no matter what the surrounding is.
That's fantastic. I love hearing that. All right, let's get a couple questions in here. Come on over. I only have one request. You let me hold the mic, and then you can introduce yourself to Arch and then ask your question.
Got the Villanova shirt on. I love it.
So I go to I graduate from Dante DiVincenzo's high school. What do you think he can contribute to the Nova team this year?
The question, I don't know, did you guys all hear the question or no? So Dante DiVincenzo, he went to the same high school as Dante, who was a redshirt freshman this year at Villanova. He said, what can he contribute to this year's team? And Dante first contributed so much to this year's team, being a redshirt. He got hurt, but he was able to play at the end of the year in practices. He pushed us, and the best thing about being a redshirt is that he was Buddy Hield in practice. He was Marcus Page. He was all the other team's best players. So basically, he just shot the ball and could do anything he wanted, and Coach Wright would never say anything to him. But he's going to be really, really good. He's really athletic. He defends very, very well. He's a knockdown shooter. And it's going to be tough as a freshman, like it always is for anyone making the transition from high school to college. But I think he's going to make an impact on our team this year and for the next 4 years.
Great question. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll keep it rolling. That's a great scouting question there, too. I love this.
Yeah, no,
love
for sure. Dante's very good.
Hi, I'm Carla.
Hello.
From Philadelphia, and I'm his mom.
Oh, okay.
We're just coincidentally here today because my younger son's birthday, and
Happy birthday.
And my son Aiden is going to Villanova, in a few weeks.
Oh, okay.
Do you have any lessons that you learned from Villanova and tips for him?
Villanova is awesome. Villanova is great. Tips is just enjoy it and go out and meet new people. Don't like kind of shelter yourself or just hang in your dorm room. Go out and meet new people. Everyone's a nice person, and I'm sure you'll meet your best friends for the rest of your life there. And I know I have, both on and off the floor, my teammates, the managers, and one of the things I took pride in is that just getting to know the people that work at Villanova too. Whoever's serving you the food at the cafeterias, everything like that. Say hello, ask how they're doing, and always look them in the eye and just kind of enjoy every single moment of every single year that you have there. But I know you're going to love it.
One other basketball question. Now that you're gone, who do you see as the next leader of the team?
The next leader of our team, there can be so many. Thank you for the questions. But you know what? I think it's going to be our senior leaders and Chris and Josh and Daryl. The seniors are usually the captains of the team just because they have been through everything the 3 previous years. But I would think Chris, Josh, and Daryl. But I could also see Jalen taking a step in and having a big role this year and being vocal on the floor and leading by example too.
Ryan, 2 words or less, best pizza on campus. That's what they really want to know. Best pizza in town.
Campus Corner.
All right, thank you. That's what I asked for you. There you go.
Hey, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
With all of your recent success, being a national champion and now going to the NBA, and you've always seemed like a humble guy. And how do you maintain that? And what is the message you have for kids and being successful and maintaining that approach?
The one thing, I mean, I'm wearing funny you say that, at Villanova, like, again, another saying, we have an attitude bracelet and we have a humble and hungry bracelet. So attitude is for whenever something bad happens, and humble and hungry is anytime you're successful or you win a game or do anything great, just look down and it just says humble and hungry, just to continue to keep working and keep that mindset. But I'm one of 6 kids. My parents both went to Villanova, and they've always, anytime I come home, I'm just Ryan, and I try to keep that mindset. And I don't think I deserve any more credit than the walk-ons on our team, my best friends Pat and Henry and Kev. I think that it takes a team to win, and I think it takes a village to raise a kid and to raise a basketball player. And I think that just keep the mindset and to just appreciate all the little things about what your parents do for you, what your siblings do for you, and what your friends do for you. And I've had great people surrounding me my whole life, and I'm not going to take anything for granted. And anytime I can give back to the community or go talk to a little kid to make their day, or if they have any questions for me, I'd love to answer them, and I'll be happy to.
Excellent answer, and thank you. Great questions. Can we get one final round of applause for our 60 Days of Summer guest, Ryan Arcidiacano?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.